Oh,
What's up? Welcome in on this Thursday, July 9th, 2026, as we head into the Major League Baseball All-Star Extravaganza next week, finishing up the, quote, unofficial but official, but not really if you're a math genius, first half of the season. We got plenty of stuff to talk about. Also an exciting day on the program because you'll say, why so early, Mike? Well, I'll tell you, it's July 9th, and there will be teams in training camp in less than 2 weeks. Not all of them, but less than 2 weeks. So it was a perfect time for us to start our NFL previews in the back half of the show. Today we will start with the AFC South. Get up in here. Follow us on all of our social channels, at Mike Arana Show, everywhere but Snapchat, because we're not 12 and Snapchat sucks. Sign up for the newsletter, MikeAranaShow.com/links. Today's program, we got a lot to talk about. We've got another edition of One's Gotta Go. Some more blind fire for the guys, the aforementioned AFC South. Some headline fire, and who knows what else is going to come up. It's the end of the week for us. First full week back. Summertime's winding down. The man that defines summer in ways that you have no idea. Vegas Mac, how in the hell are you on this fine July Thursday?
man, I am fine. Mike, listen, I want to start with something really positive. And this is
Uh-oh.
truly no, this is something really good. Listen, there are certain accomplishments that need to be like really announced and made known. And one of those accomplishments happened yesterday. I went golfing. Yesterday with my son, with Jonathan. And I want to tell you, legitimately, not messing around, not foot wedging around. He, for the first time in his life, shot under 100. He shot a 96. That's a huge accomplishment. Yeah. So, Carter, I just want to say, congratulations. I mean, he was a little nervous at the end, I could tell. But I mean, that's a big deal to finally break that triple digit.
It is a big deal, and there's nothing like a knee knocker when you're coming on the 17th hole and you know you have a chance to break a milestone mark. It's kind of like what we talk about all the time when we're talking about, like how much somebody puts on a bet to determine how much they're committed to it. Everybody's bankroll is different. Golf is another place where we shame new people into the game a lot. We talk about it with how hockey fans are gatekeepers, how World Cup fans have been, hey, idiot, clearly you don't know soccer. Well, why would you deter those people from coming through? Shooting a score in golf legitimately is another one of those things I think that falls into that same category. I've been fortunate enough one time in my life to break the 80 mark when I was playing a lot of golf. I remember how that felt, and I remember now still when I go out, if I'm lucky to, once every 5 weeks, and I'm able to shoot in the low 90s, high 80s, it happens. So shout out to Carter for breaking the century mark. And you think these guys on the tour have a hard time putting? Try putting for your first time on 17 and 18 when you know breaking a hundo is in the bag. It's just nerve-wracking.
It
How did you shoot? Did you take them to the woodshed yesterday?
I have been going through some swing changes, and the swing changes have been very, very good. In fact, yesterday it was excellent. I was really nice off the tee box. Because of those swing changes, my short game, my chipping game, my 100-yard in game hasn't been as effective. I still shot an 83, so I was really, really happy with that. I have to pat my own back. I hit a great shot on the last hole. I was it's a par 5. I was about 190 out, and I hit a 6-iron. To about 6 feet below the hole. It was a perfect shot. I mean, to finish, you know how it is. The last shot of the day, you want it to be good, and it was an absolute just dart. It was great.
The shot that makes you keep coming back. Have you? I don't know if I've
Absolutely.
ever asked you this on the program. This might be the only thing in golf that I have that you don't have, because clearly, those of you that have been following us long enough, you know Mac is the golfer of the group. I think Cody's trying to get into Group A2 in our first Mike Arana Show golf outing, which hopefully will be
Yes.
in the works and ready by next summer. Anytime you want to come golf with us. Now, I will tell you, our group, even including TJ, will shoot a 59. So that's the number to beat when we go out there. Speaking of numbers to beat, let's look at what's going on in Scotland before we get into it today. Tom Kim, Bernard Wiesberger, Patrick Cantlay, Rory McIlroy, Rasmus Højgaard, all T1 at 500 par in the clubhouse, 65s today out at the Genesis Scottish Open. Brooks Koepka leads a group of guys at -4 right now, a whole host of others at -3. So most of the guys on the course are done for the day, but about what we would expect from the Scottish Open, unless your name is John Rahm, and then you're like, why am I even out here? Because he's T137 right now. You know what? I was surprised, not to take a dig at you here, because
No.
I was going to pick him if you didn't, but not the best day for Tyrrell Hatton out there today, which
Yeah.
I thought that was the one score that was a little surprising to me, but as
I
we know in Scotland and across the pond, golf is weird. So just one round does not make anything over there.
No, and I mean he's not in bad shape, but yeah, not the round that I thought that he would have. It's when you take those live golfers, it's a little bit of a challenge because I mean they're playing, but they're not playing competitively week in and week out like the PGA guys are, and so it's a little bit of a risk. But I figured if I was going to take him, I thought this was a good week to kind of roll the dice a little bit with them. So. And plus,
Kind
I
of
like.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say. Plus, like I said yesterday, Terrell Hatton's always fun to watch, especially if he's close to the lead or close to a cut line. He's going to be ramped up even more.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you look at it from our pick standpoint here, I don't have all of them clicked and starred yet, but just the top 3 picks that we made yesterday. We all have a guy at 4 under par, T6, Brooks Koepka, Minwoo Lee, and 4, Tony's pick. Yeah. Surprisingly there that was Minwoo your, let's see here. This makes for great television. Minwoo, all 3 of our guys to finish top 40 are all T6 right now. So we're great in the top 40 category.
Hey,
let's get into some. Go
bang
ahead.
for your buck. Bang for your buck here, baby. Bang for your buck.
Yeah, or you bang your face through glass for a buck, something like that, if you're following our Dollar Dingers experience. We're also going to make home run derby picks today, and we don't have the full field yet, so that could lead to some interesting strategy. We've got Dollar Dingers that we'll pick for tomorrow's game, liquid locks, all that at the end of the program. Let's get into some headline fire. Mac, 7 Major League Baseball umpires, including C.B. Buckner, will be retiring. Taking a buyout at the end of this MLB season. Just based on that information alone, should we already consider ABS a 1,000% success for baseball?
Yeah, I mean it's been a really good thing. It's covered a couple of things. Number one, it's made umpires be better, and that's what we want. They've had to be better. Number two, it's made in-game strategy a little bit different. I was watching a game last night. It was the Red Sox game, and the White Sox challenged a call in the first inning and lost it. Now you only have one for the whole game. We've seen. I saw an at bat the other day where a batter challenged 3 calls in a row, and then the catcher challenged the 4th call in a row, and they were all right. That's the thing. So I think it's been an absolute 1,000% success. It doesn't take long. It's extremely accurate. I love the way that it goes. And like I said, there's a strategy to it. Again, it's like anything else. There are some teams that are really good. There are some players that are really good, and there are other teams that just suck at it. And we've actually seen, I know the Red Sox have done this, and I know other teams have probably done this. They've actually had practices where the ABS practices where guys go out and a pitch is thrown and they're watching it and they have to make a decision, strike or ball. And it's kind of funny. That's one of the things that when I coach baseball, I actually teach. I actually have guys take batting practice and they don't swing. They get up there and I just have them track the ball. It's actually I think has helped the game of baseball in all aspects. It's a great thing. Much better than the ghost runner.
Jeez. I don't have the
Sorry.
I don't have the bandwidth for you to go on a ghost runner rant today. No, it's perfect. And we've seen guys like Randy Arana, Alex Call last night for the Dodgers right away.
Yeah. Yep.
Goes and challenges 2 consecutive pitches, and Eric Karros was in the booth with Joe Davis, and as soon as he challenges the second one in the first inning last night or whatever it was super early, either the first or second inning, and as soon as he challenges it, Karros is just like, "Oh no, what are you doing?" Like,
right?
There needs to be some teams that talk to some of these guys and go, "Hey, we're going to give you free reign to challenge, but you're not allowed to challenge a call until an at-bat, at least in the 6th inning or later, because we've seen too many guys that just blow through them and have zero eye at the plate. It's actually comical. And I love that we all get to see it. I think that's the best part of this. We always talk about needing transparency in sports. Mm-hmm. I love that all of us, including the umpire, the players, everybody, the fans in the stands, on TV, we all see it at the same damn time. So it takes any of the conspiracy dweebs out of this because you're seeing it all at the same time in real time. It's that simple. It should be utilized in more sports. But it's a smashing success. See you later, CB Buckner. You missed a lot of good games in your career.
No. So, Mike, I want to just kind of piggyback on that and ask you. I mean, it's been a success. So, since it's been a success, and I think a good success, and I don't think it takes away from the flow of the game, would you like to see the number of challenges increased?
I think you reward teams by being good at challenging the system. I don't think we need to change anything now. I think maybe we add a little more incentives to the teams that are proving that they're capable of handling it and they have a good eye. And I think I would be game for a proposal like that. I don't know if some of the can you imagine if Jazz Chisholm and the Yankees with Jazz Chisholm, or the Mariners with a Arana, or Colin Rushing with the Dodgers get more opportunities to challenge pitches? That's not a good thing. I think I could make a case for, hey, if you win your first 2, you get both of them back. Or I think there's a way to expand it going forward, but there's also teams that should not be able to challenge. Period.
Oh, goodness gracious! All right,
fire away.
Let's have a little bit of fun. We've kind of started with a little bit of fun, so I've got a fun NBA question for you. Ready? Let's go back in the Wayback Machine to 1990. We've got Dennis Rodman out on the court. Yep, and let's say he has to defend Victor Wembanyama. Would Rodman successfully lock him up, or would he just be ejected in the first 2 minutes of the game trying to mess with him?
Dennis Rodman, and I'll use a current day example of somebody that reminds a lot of people of Dennis Rodman, Draymond Green. 2 of the smarter basketball players we've ever had play the game of basketball. So I don't think either one of them would get ejected right away, but I'll stay where I stay normally when anybody has these conversations in sports. Comparative eras are not comparative. So I think trying to classify what Dennis Rodman was able to do back then as to how it would translate now, because the game is just so different now, isn't a fair comparison to either side of the argument. And we do this a lot in sports, and it's why we don't do Mount Rushmores on this show and never will, because it's the dumbest thing in the world to talk about a guy's legacy while he's still playing. So, would Rodman be able to mess with Wemby or some of these guys? I think absolutely. He would know how far to push it. Sometimes he would push it too far. Sometimes he would push it just to the brink, and you'd get the desired result there because the Worm was smart. The Worm was a lot smarter than people ever gave him credit for. So I think he's one of those guys that could translate to different generations of the game, but I also don't think it's a fair comparison to either side of the argument, if you will.
Yeah, that's good.
Look at me play Switzerland in a very
Yeah,
interesting way there. I'm taking a page out of your book. Let's go into the
yeah, no
NFL.
joke.
And this upcoming season, and again, at the second half of the show today, we will start our previews with the AFC South, an interesting division. But if we're going into a new NFL season, Mac, there's no point in delaying the inevitable. Who is a coach or two that you think is a highly likely candidate to be canned first in this upcoming NFL season? Because you know we don't go NFL seasons without seeing coaching changes.
So, this was a good one. I mean, I think Shane Steichen, the Colts, is one, and here's why. Great start last year, burned out. There was an injury there. A lot of talk around this offseason from Colts management saying that there's kind of a sense of urgency in the organization to get into the playoffs and be successful. So I could see if Steichen and the Colts get off to a slow start, I think that would be one place that the plug could be pulled. I think another one, and this is, I mean, obviously we know this. I think Aaron Glenn in New York. I like what he's done in New York, but listen, the bottom line is, I think they got to start winning. And we know Woody Johnson is one of those. If he's not happy, he's going to make changes. And so I could see Aaron Glenn kind of be on that hot seat. The third one is the only one who is safe this offseason, and that's from Cincinnati, Zach Taylor. At some point, don't the Bengals actually have to win something? I mean, let's be honest. We keep talking slow start, Burrow this, Burrow that. Listen, you got to start winning, and everybody else has changed in that division. I think if he doesn't get off to a really good start, I think that could be a change.
I think that's a very, very solid list there, and three of the highly likely ones. I'm going to throw Todd Bowles on that list because I still don't know how he still has a job.
Right.
Obviously, ownership in Tampa is very happy with him and what they've done, but I'm interested to see how much longer that rope goes with him because we know in totality, the NFC South, which we'll preview here in a couple of weeks, is a lot better division as far as the teams within the division. So, like, your likelihood of easily walking through the NFC South for the Bucs is not as high as it has been. They've lost some pieces that we'll get into when we start talking about the division as a whole there. So I think Todd Bowles definitely goes on that list for sure. As far as the rest of it goes, I'm sure in the first couple of weeks of the season, we're going to get some of those answers or some of those stories developing very quickly there. Zach Taylor, and T brought this point up, and you know this damn well being a Steeler fan, a fan within the division. You know, the Bengals can't start like they have started over the Zach Taylor era. This has got to be the year that's different, and there's a lot of changes in Cincinnati. Joe Burrow's feeling those vibes from LSU 2019. If they start slow again, it could ramp that up because people are going to go, here we go again with this son of a bitch. It's 5 years in a row this guy started terrible at the beginning of the year.
Hey.
What Steeler game? Are you going to the Bengals game or the Colts game?
Bengals game, week 3, baby. So
okay,
they better figure it out before week 3 because Max heading down to the Steelers and Bengals, and it's not going to be good for Cincinnati that week.
Oh yeah, I forgot. You're putting what are you putting the shammy whammy on them?
The shammy whammy. I'm bringing the whole thing, the whole enchilada.
The boozy oozy or whatever the hell we're calling it.
We'll come up with it. It'll be something.
You know, that's the objective of our audience is we need to come up with how Mac's gonna jinx the Bucknell Bison and the Cincinnati Bengals in the same weekend of watching football at Acrisure Stadium. We need to start working on that now because it'll be here before we know it.
Absolutely.
Fire away.
You know it. All right. Let's stay right with football. NFL executives, coaches, and scouts just released the 2026 rankings. And I'm going to talk specifically about running back rankings. Given the declining financial value of that position, Does being ranked in the top 5 NFL running backs mean anything anymore, or is it just a glorified title?
I think it's a glorified title. I don't know why it became such a big deal a couple of years ago, but we decided to make it a big deal. I'm quick scanning a list of who is supposed to be the top 10 running backs in the NFL next year. One of whom is in the division we will be talking about just a little bit later here. Yeah, again, like I understand that from a player standpoint and contractual standpoints in certain leagues where you're ranked or what end of the season team you end up on does make a big difference as to your paycheck and what you can sign extension wise, for example, in the NBA and when and all that stuff. But I mean, I've always been I'm going to let my play do most of my talking. I'm going to flap my gums a little bit out there. But at the same time, like, cool, you have me ranked as the 14th different running back. Well, I'm just going to go out and lead the league in rushing, and you can shove your rankings up your ass. So I don't know why everybody gets all up in arms with it. One of my favorite things to see people overreact to at this time of year is when they drop the top 100 players ranked in the NFL, and everybody's like, oh, how can you rank him? Hey, who gives a shit? At the end of the year, there's one team holding the trophy, and there's a bunch of teams that aren't holding the trophy. And I don't care if I'm the 10th ranked tight end, if I'm the starting tight end on the team that wins the Super Bowl. I really don't give a shit at that point. So it's overreaction season. We're in the height of it right now. And you kind of mentioned it yesterday, you know, that mad dash to the beginning of NBA free agency and NHL free agency, and then it kind of lulls into this. We're at baseball close enough, but not close enough to the trade deadline where nobody's really doing anything. Now we're starting to get towards training camp and fall camp or summer camp, however they determine it now in college football. Like, this is prime overreaction season right now, and the NFL, again, still tries to dominate the news and takes over overreaction season, too. So just in about probably 2 or 3 weeks from now, we'll start to see that top 100 list unveiled for everybody to overreact to there as well. I'm going to kind of keep it in football here, but I'm going to expand us to the 4 majors, Mac. Which sports fan base in the 4 majors is the most desperate to see their team win a championship in this upcoming set of seasons? Because to me, the sports calendar starts in football season. That's always when I determine a new sports calendar. I know it's not the same for everybody, but out of the 4 major sports, which fan base is like so in line, so ready, so deserving of a championship that in a crazy sports year, it maybe is not out of the realm of possibility?
Well, I'm going to just go to what's kind of the longest active wait. That's the Cleveland Guardians. Their title was in 1948. That's 78 years. You know, we talk about this as the year that kind of weird things happened. Like, I think the Cleveland Guardians, they've been oh so close. Those years when they had, you know, Tomey and Ramirez and so on and so forth. That was they were really close to getting one. But I mean, why not the Guardians? Why couldn't it be the Guardians year? I mean, they're as good as anybody, especially in the American League.
I would agree with that. I could see that happening. It's been that kind of sports year. I'm gonna stay with the one I've wanted to see win a championship since I was a wee child. Were you alive for the last Guardians championship? It was close there, right?
48. I just missed it.
You just missed it? Okay. Cody checking in. I will promise you one thing. This is the liquid lock of all liquid locks this year.
Jeez.
No team named the Giants will even come close to sniffing the postseason, let alone a championship. So there's bold prediction liquid lock for you there. For me, it's Buffalo. It's got to be the Bills. It's got to be the Bills, and then it'd be kind of cool to see a team in Minnesota finally win a championship. But I think your best bet there is probably going to be the Wild over at least the next 3 to 4 years. So I don't have a whole lot of hope for Minnesota sports, but I got a lot of hope and expectations for Buffalo this year. That would be an interesting one. Fire away, man.
You know, I was going to say, I went just because I was curious as to which is the longest, and I said Cleveland, you know, was the longest. Do you know which of the four major sports is the next longest streak of a team that hasn't won?
It's got to be the Arizona Cardinals.
I found it's the Sacramento Kings. Now you have to remember
Uh,
they weren't the King. You go back, they were the Rochester Royals. So
yep.
1951, 75 years, and it'll probably be another 75 before they even make the playoffs.
Have fun with that one, Vivek. Shove your beam up your backside.
um, oh, I got to change this question. I was going to talk about the Toronto Blue Jays because I don't think we've talked enough about the Toronto Blue Jays. This is a team that was in the World Series last year, and they just look like a shell of themselves. But I'm going to change it a little bit because I didn't take the fishing line 2 weeks ago when the Red Sox threw it out. But it's hard not to take the line over the last couple of weeks, Mike. So let's kind of talk about this in two ways. Let's first talk about Toronto. Vlad has not played well. He declined the All-Star invitation, I think because he hasn't played well. Are the Blue Jays a team that they just have to say, you know what, this is not working and they need to sell? That's my first half of the question. I'm going to let you kind of simmer on that. And that my second part is the Red Sox starting pitching has been absolutely fantastic. And you look at today's game, they've got a new addition, and I say new because he hasn't pitched in a couple of years, and Patrick Sandoval, and he's in the third inning, and he's pitching magnificent. Have the Red Sox, has the merry-go-round come completely around now to this Red Sox team? And should they be buyers at the deadline and not sellers? So two parts here. Let's talk a little bit about Toronto and walk me out of this Red Sox thing.
It's easy. If you never watched the San Francisco Giants in the month leading up to the trade deadline, that's when they play their best baseball, and you go, maybe this team isn't that bad. It would be malpractice by the Red Sox to not ship off some of this stuff and get out of their own way. Guys like, I don't know, Trevor Story, Aroldis Chapman, Sonny Gray, that can get you actual and actionable, usable pieces to go forward with. I mean, if I'm the Red Sox right now, I'm on the phone with the Cubs going, hey, we'll give you Gray and we'll give you Chapman. You need the pitching help in both areas. What are you going to give us for that? And the Cubs have the prospects for it. Milwaukee has the prospects for it, but it doesn't fit their build to give up on Jesus Mate, who is the number one prospect in baseball right now, for a rental. It's just not what they do. So I think that's fascinating. And then when you throw, to expand it more to the other part of the American League East, when you throw the Blue Jays in there, listen, the Blue Jays' big ad last year was Anthony Santander, who we've barely seen in a Blue Jays uniform.
Right.
Vlad, I give Vlad all the credit and respect in the world for saying, I basically don't deserve to be an all-star right now. And that's a guy that's going to take the all-star break and go, how can I get better? And what do I need to do to help my team get better? And we talked about it a lot going into the offseason. And the hangover that doesn't get talked about as much in baseball when you go to a World Series as it does in like the NFL the year after you make a Super Bowl, the Super Bowl hangover and all that fun stuff.
Right.
But like we've seen it with these teams that make these deep runs and teams that really in the Blue Jays stance have an older kind of pitching staff here. Those longer runs are even more taxing on those older pitching staffs and whatever. They're 2.5 games out of a wild card spot. The Yankees, who brought their bats to the yard today for the first time in a while, are a gettable team. The Guardians are a gettable team. Texas, Minnesota, Houston, all those are the teams that are ahead of the Blue Jays currently in the standings. If I'm the Red Sox, I'm still shipping pieces off because I don't believe it. If I'm in the Blue Jays sense, all right, we've played a little over half the year. We clearly should have brought back Bo Bichette because we have not been the same team without Bo Bichette. Clearly, the Mets aren't any better with Bo Bichette. So we talk about trades that sometimes teams win trades and free agents that they sign from other teams. Clearly, the Blue Jays and the Mets screwed this whole thing up. The Red Sox, smoke and freaking mirrors. Don't buy any of it right now.
All right.
Especially when you look at who they've beaten over the last couple of weeks. I mean, what they've done to the White Sox so far in this series has been a little eye-opening, but I also do find myself having to remind myself that the White Sox are still the White Sox, and this is all new territory for a very young baseball team, so they are
Yeah.
more susceptible to go on swoons like this. Don't buy the Red Sox. I'm still kind of
Right.
buying the Blue Jays, though, and you saw it yesterday with Dylan Cease, the guy who seemingly can't get himself a no-hitter. Surprisingly, that no opposing pitcher, I found this out yesterday, no opposing pitcher has ever thrown a no-hitter at Oracle Park. Which, with some of the Giants teams over the last 10
Yeah.
years and 81 times playing them in Oracle Park, you've had plenty of opportunities to no-hit the Giants at Oracle Park. Toronto's still anchored by Dylan Cease. The rest of these guys will figure it out.
All right. All right. I'm good. I'm good. We'll see.
You didn't think I was that dialed into the AL East today, huh?
I know you are. Yeah, I know. And the Red Sox finish up with the Mets, so that's not going to tell us anything either. So
Oh, jeez.
I
Woof.
know.
Let's talk about the four majors again. I'm in a four major kind of mood today. Maybe
all
it's because
right.
we're coming up on the fourth golf major, and I'm just got major things on my brain. Four decision makers in the four major sports: Gary Bettman, Roger Goodell, Bobby Manfred, Adam Silver. Which one of those guys do you think is doing the best overall job? I know it would be easy to not say Rob Manfred because of the looming lockout, but I'm saying take it into totality. Success, momentum for the leagues, new things that are coming that are good things, things that you take everything into totality. I don't want it to seem like I'm on my witch hunt for Rob Manfred like I typically am, because he brings a lot of it on himself here. So I didn't want the question to be loaded. Which one of the
Right.
four major commissioners do you think is doing the best job right now?
Well, all right. So as far as doing the best, I mean, it's hard not to think that where the NFL is with Roger Goodell is he's not doing the best. I mean, it seems like everything that he puts out. Oh, like you mentioned, we're gonna put out the top rankings. We're gonna announce everybody's schedule. You know, we're gonna do a uniform. It seems like everything right now that the NFL does is spectacular, over the top. Everybody watches it. It's like must see TV. So it'd be hard not to say that. You know, he's putting games in places where we never thought there would be games in places, right? You know, he's globalizing the NFL. So it'd be hard not to say. But I'm gonna shock you with this, and I'm gonna say that it's Rob Manfred, and I'm gonna tell you why. I joke about the ghost runner and whatnot, but the reality is a lot of the rules that he put in, we thought the pitch clock was going to be a problem at first. It really hasn't. It doesn't really play a factor. Has it helped the game? Yes. It's made the game go faster. You now have guys that have used this throughout the entire minor leagues, and it's you're almost surprised now when you have a pitch clock violation, but it's there. The extra innings thing, it has made the game interesting when we get into extra innings. It has made it more exciting. I think that, and I'm kind of connecting some dots that maybe should be connected, but I think the extra innings has led to Tampa Bay, the way they're playing baseball, because when you have those extra innings, you want to bunt people over, and those things make a lot of difference, and I think teams are kind of seeing that. It's about getting those runs in. The things with the shifts were completely crazy, and he's kind of dialed that down. He's created more exciting action on the base paths. I think overall he's done well, making the game a little bit better. And yes, us old guys who love the game the way that it was and don't want to see changes, we've had to come around. And I think, like we started at the top of the show, who would have thought this ABS challenge would be something that would even think about 10 years ago? And here it is. And it's made the game better. So I will say most of the things that he's done, he's made the game better. And I like that. So, and especially with a game like baseball that is so rich in tradition. I don't think it's taken any of that tradition away from it.
That was very well said by you. Very
Thank you.
complimentary of you. Yeah, I think you. I mean, a couple of things there. Number one, like obviously, yes, the league numbers and everything from Roger Goodell and what the NFL is doing and how it's expanded as a business under his watch and all that stuff. You know, and we could sit here and honestly, maybe even better question for a later date, but we'll talk about it a little bit here. Is, you know, the one thing that each of them probably need to focus on, because you could go through that a lot. Also, I think Adam Silver has been widely praised for what he's done with the league. You know, like as much as we bag on the play in or the in season tournament and the play in tournament, they have changed the dynamic a little bit. I think they need some tweaking, but like the international audience for the NBA right now, huge. He's a very player friendly commissioner. I think if there was one way to kind of classify him, you know, Roger Goodell, the player discipline has never been great under him. That's been one of his negatives. Manfred, I think there's just as many negatives as there has been positives. You know, the A's relocation, labor issues have not been a new. This isn't a new thing under Rob Manfred and Gary Bettman. Right. Like, kind of the same thing. He hasn't been the most calming face, if you will, during NHL labor disputes, but like how you can make hockey popular in Las Vegas and Seattle also goes a long way to, and like places like Raleigh, like that goes a long way to his stewardship.
Yes.
How he's steering the ship, whatever the hell I'm trying to say. TJ will be with us here in about 20 minutes, and we'll have some One Gotta Go AFC South preview. Blindfire. We got a lot to do today. Let's keep going here for a couple more mintes, though. And then we'll take a tour around baseball because we got some day scores and some interesting stats to pass along.
Yeah. Let's do a little football. Tennessee is replacing Joey Aguilar, and they're holding a four-way practice, basically a battle between freshmen and redshirts. In the modern NIL era, Mike, is it a massive mistake to trust a redshirt freshman in the SEC over what you could get in the portal?
That's kind of one of the definite things that we're seeing right now is the teams that are having success are going to the Sam Levitts or the Jaden Daniels. Ironic that two ASU quarterbacks that ended up at LSU there. Mm-hmm. Funny how that ties together. But like, you're seeing the teams that go to the veteran quarterback, and then you're also seeing teams that are trying to get the young quarterback and keep them there the whole way. So I think your two biggest case studies of this going into next college football season is Jaron Sagapatele from Cal, who decided to stay at Cal with Tosh Lupoy and Ron Rivera's regime there. And then Sam Levitt, who I just mentioned, who we've talked about a few times in the last couple of weeks, going to LSU. I think those are your two, like, good young quarterback that was yours from the start in Sagapatele. Sam Levitt, who is now expected to be a Heisman frontrunner and a key piece to LSU in Lane Kiffin's first. So I think those are your two great case studies here. And I don't know if we have enough. I don't know if we've had enough data. We just talked about this last week, you know, happy 5-year birthday to the NIL and everything like that. And, you know, there was a report that came out today, like the NILs across the country have rejected $90 million in NIL deals. So we're seeing some pushback in some of that stuff now. So I don't know if we have enough of a case study yet, but I think if you want to see it from two different extremes this year, you look at Sagapatele and you look at Sam Levitt, and I think that gives you a pretty good idea. Josh Hoover's another interesting one for Indiana. You know, and we could go up and down that list. Darian Mensah, a guy you talked about yesterday as one of your guys that you like in the Heisman race. Like, it's interesting to see how it plays out, but I still think we need a couple more years of examples before you're going to get a coach that goes, nope, this is the way to do it. And you're a forward talking, kind of like what Florida was trying to do with DJ Lagway, and then the coaching change and everything else. It's like, I think you can do it both ways, but it's got to be a conversation that you have with your boosters and your collectives and whatever the hell they're going to be called tomorrow. And you go, hey, we're going to get this guy in here as a freshman. And our plan is to keep him here until he goes to the NFL draft. But each year we're going to competitively have to pay him based on his performance, which is the whole idea of this thing anyways.
Right. Well, and I think, a good example of this maybe even is Arch Manning. I mean, they brought him in and he, was supposed to, light Texas on fire and it hasn't happened yet. And now we're a couple years into this and, we'll see obviously what happens this year. But, that in itself, I think is a pretty good example. So.
Yeah, and a great lead into another thing I'm going to ask you along the same lines here. And
right.
Fourth-year quarterbacks in college football this year are going to have some interesting decisions to make with the new 5-for-5 rule in NCAA, specifically in football, under the new eligibility model. For those of you that aren't familiar with it yet, players entering their fourth year in college who haven't utilized the redshirt season will have the option to return for a fifth year in 2027. Cam Rising clearly got out just in time for this to be a rule. Otherwise, he would have had half of his college career cut off. But it's interesting because one of the guys, probably the main guy who's going to have an interesting decision to make because of this, is the current quarterback at Utah, Devin Dampier. And you have the list of starters here, Mac, in Devin Dampier, Avery Johnson at Kansas State, Jalen Rayner at Iowa State, Anthony Colandry at Nebraska, Aiden Childs at Northwestern, Jackson Arnold at UNLV. But the one guy I want to focus on is Devin Dampier because he's going to have to make a decision in December if he's going to take that extra year here. And for a guy like Devin Dampier in this upcoming quarterback class, a couple of the guys that you literally just mentioned here, is this 5-for-5 rule not something that you see as Mama Max checking in? Not like anything you get at Wendy's or Arby's. Is the 5-for-5 rule in college football specifically the best way to handle it?
I think it's a good thing. And I have a couple of reasons why. I think, number one, it kind of gets rid of a lot of this red tape. You don't have to, a lot of things kind of get murky with hardships and transfer and red shirting and everything else. I think it streamlines that. I think now, here's your window. That's what we've got. I think it's for someone like Dampier, it kind of gives them a safety belt where they know, they say, okay, listen, like you said, this is probably not the draft that you want to go to if you're that quarterback that you're kind of you're good, but you're not quite at that elite level yet. It gives you a little bit of a safety belt. I think it's good for the universities too, because I think you can kind of keep some of those players for a little bit longer. Now, the negative to this, of course, is it's going to hurt high school kids coming in. It creates a little bit of a log jam with the high school kids and what they're going to do. But I think overall, it's a good thing. When you start, when you finish. You can decide what you want to do during that time. I think it makes it clear for everybody. We don't have to worry about, well, this guy got this. No, you got 5 years and that's it. It's just, to me, it's clear, it's cut. It's exactly what we're trying to do as sports, is to get rid of all those gray areas. Well, this one had an injury and we had this. Nope, you got 5 and that's it. It's done with.
Yeah, and Max Olson did a great breakdown of this on ESPN.com today. And to go, let's add a layer to it along the lines of what you were just talking about. Morgan Scalley, the first-year head coach at Utah, went on to say the possibility of one more year for Dampier is another dynamic to navigate for what a lot of people think is the most talented quarterback room in the Big 12 at Utah. Bird Ficklin is the clear successor, as Olson put here, to Dampier, and agreed to re-sign with the Utes ahead of his sophomore year to keep developing with the hopes of starting in 2027. Scally said it's a good problem to have. The other guy I mentioned there who's got the same kind of decision will be Avery Johnson at Kansas State, and their new coach was talking about this when it came back to the decision with Will Howard before he left for Ohio State. Injuries that year to Skylar Thompson resulted in Howard having to play 6 games and lose a season of eligibility. So he's glad he's not going to have those conversations anymore. And if you remember, where this all kind of came from was guys that were deciding not to play anymore as soon as they hit the 4th game played so they could preserve a year of eligibility. That part I love that that's going away. And like you said, it is going to impact some of the high school kids coming up. But like, I think the other layer to this that we need to keep in place is, let's say Dampier wants to do Utah a solid and does take his next year, but is going to do it to go into the most NFL ready college program, make the most money he can. As long as he can transfer and move out of the way for Bird Ficklin, who is his successor at Utah, I think that part needs to be a thing there too. Maybe Dampier just wants to do Utah a solid. Utah did him a solid bringing him there. So like, that's a layer of this that I think we're still going to have to uncover here, but I do like it. I'm interested to see what other position groups, and that's something we talk about a lot. And we mentioned this the other day when we were talking about the NIL, Mac, is we're seeing guys in the NFL and the NBA specifically come in more ready to play right away because they're more experienced at the lower level. Your opposites of that are a guy like Koa Pete, who was he going to stay at Arizona? Was he not? He ends up getting drafted at the end of the first round. Now it's on him to, hey, prove it here. So like, that's the other interesting part of that. But again, we can't just look at NIL all the time like it's a horrible thing, because these are some of the other good things that do come out of the structure, I think.
No, absolutely. We talked about that. I mean, yesterday our conversation was NIL is great, especially for those sports that we don't talk about, the soccer, the gymnastics, the softball, and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's a brand new part of college sports. And like we said, you've got it. If you're going to be successful, you've got to embrace it. And this is just another, I think, positive part of it. It really is a good thing. Listen, anytime we're dealing with money and young adults, it's a tricky line you're walking anyway, and so that's, I mean, not that I would have gotten that kind of money in college, but I can't imagine being a college student, with, even a couple $100, never mind a couple of $1 million. I just wanted an extra sub and maybe some mac and cheese to get me through the week. I would have been pretty damn happy. But I can't imagine,
as long as your video coordinator didn't buy it for you, because that would have been a violation.
It would have been a violation, absolutely. And we never went to the coach's house for dinner. That never happened, because that would have been a violation too. That never happened when I was in college. Sorry, Skip.
So
throw
damn
them under the bus.
So
right?
Stupid.
If you think, if you think about it, I mean, all those times where you brought somebody in, or you weren't supposed. It's so crazy. It's the stories you could tell.
Right? Yeah, absolutely. Again, here, TJ will be joining us in just a little bit. We're about 10 minutes away from our AFC South preview. One's got to go in there in between. I'm going to take one of T's questions here while we're waiting for him, because this is up your alley here. This would have been one of those ones I would have just shut up and let you answer, but I'm going to ask the question and then shut up and let you answer, because I know this is a thing for you, and it strikes a little bit of a nostalgia chord. So T writes, are All-Star Games snubs a real thing or just a bunch of bullcrap, considering players that won't play due to injury, load management, etc., replacements that are made that maybe aren't the most qualified? Are All-Star Game snubs still something we should be concerned with or complain about?
Well, I'm going to say no, and here's why. The starters used to be 100% voted on by the fans. Remember, you used to have those little ballots that you used to punch out at the ball game. You could go get like 500 of them and just sit there through the entire game and make sure all the Red Sox, were punched out. Or insert your favorite team. I mean, so it was a popularity contest, and again, I don't have a problem with that. But nowadays, the formula is a little bit different. The fans are a certain part of it. Managers, coaches, and players are all getting a chance to pick. So I don't really think that it's a snub. Listen, it's an all-star game. It's supposed to be for the fans. It's for fun. If the fans remember when we used to have, it used to be like young players like never got into all star games. It was always the veterans. It was Cal Ripken, A-Rod, and so on and so forth. Those are the guys year after year because again, and part of that, the game has changed. Like you didn't see these guys in your ballpark. That might be the only time you ever got to see them in your ballpark. So the game has completely changed because now these guys, at least every other year, are going to be in your ballpark. Again, maybe another good part that we did mention with Rob Manfred, what he's done with the schedule. So I don't think snubs are a thing. Listen, don't end up going. Like Ranger Suarez got hurt. He's going to get somebody replaced. I don't think Contreras is going to go because he got hurt. There's two spots that open up, right there. I think it's the way they have it right now. Guys that don't want to go because of injuries, even with the pitching, you get it's going to go on your baseball card. It's going to say you were an all-star. That's all you need. I think a lot of those guys would rather do that anyway. I think a lot of them would rather just go to the game, kind of hang out, watch the home run derby, hang with some guys, meet some guys, and not even worry about playing. I don't think it's as big a deal as we think it is.
No, I again, it's still one of the things that cracks me up the most is the people that like freak out because no respect. Shut the up. Seriously, just shut up about it. If the guys don't care, why should you care? And I do think, and I the home run derby on Monday is going to be a perfect example of it. You see all the guys that are just there with their families, having a good time, catching up with other guys they know around the league, and that's the fun part of it. I love watching the intros for the All-Star game, and it's in Philly this year. So the baseball All-Star game, I'm expecting good things. I'm glad you brought that up on Rob Manfred, though, just so I don't, pass this point. That is the one thing out of everything that Manfred's done that I've liked the most is the fact that you play every single team in the league every year, especially for somebody like me that's trying to hit a bunch of. And I don't know why I still do this, but probably because they serve alcohol at every ballpark, and this is the only way I could watch the Giants. But seeing the Giants play in some of these buildings that I want to cross off, I know Kansas City's and Philadelphia are going to be the next two on the list for me. So, that part's really cool. And the fact that they put out their schedule for next year, right around this time or a month from now, you get way in advance, plenty of time to plan summer road trips and stuff. So, I wanted to be fair to Bobby Mans, as T calls him all the time, that I didn't want to rip him today. So
no, I think it's good.
You've got another one on your list here.
I do. Anthony Mantha, top UFA. He put up 33 goals for Pittsburgh last year, but from an analytical standpoint, we're going to go down that road. I know. It shows he has a highly unsustainable 21.7% shooting percentage. Is any team that hands him a $5 million plus contract walking into a massive regression trap? Analytics. Oh man, that's a whole nother subject. But yeah, what do you think?
You know what analytics can't teach you? Big bodies scoring. That's what analytics can't teach you. I get it. I mean, it's and this is another thing we talked about with the weaker free agent class is he's 31. Okay, had career year last year in goals and assists and points. 1 assist in 6 playoff games really didn't kind of show up there for him, but it's also a guy who's been around, and you can't teach experience, you can't teach size, especially at the winger position. So I don't know if $5 million is over the top for him. I'm sure a team could if a team got him at 2 for an AAV of 3.5, I think somebody would be happy. I don't see a reason in this crop of free agents not to go after a guy like that. When you look at who's left, I mean, what are you talking about? Adam Enrique, Michael Bunting, John Klingberg, Anthony Mantha, we're obviously talking about, Logan Stanley, another interesting name, Vladimir Tarasenko, there's another interesting name. So much like a guy like Darren Radish went way over what Tampa Bay was going to give him to sign with Toronto, these are the other guys that really get to, I think, benefit from the layout of what the free agent crop is this year. So I don't think paying $5 million for him would scare me. It'd be about as far as I'd probably be willing to go on a 31-year-old. But it also
Right.
makes a lot of difference on how the team set up, as it does with any free agent, dumbass. But like James Van Riemsdyk, he's another guy like who's still available, and we're talking about guys that are basically all the same player here at this point in their careers.
Right.
In Van Riemsdyk, Tarasenko, Mantha, and Adam Henrique, like we're talking about, and Michael Bunting, we're talking about all guys that are over 30 years old, and in this market are probably still worth about a $5 million AAV at the very most. So, and there's, as we know, Mac, there's a lot of teams that still have a lot of holes to freaking fill, and some of these veterans would be good on a lot of these teams. T talked about this yesterday. One of the things he said about Seattle's going to have to overpay guys to get in there until they
Right.
start winning, and then it's a lot more desirable place for hockey players to go. This is a pathway for them. You overpay for Michael Bunting and Anthony Mantha, the list of those guys we were just talking about. Product of a good time to be a free agent.
Yeah. Got to pick your year. I mean, you can, but it'd be good if you could.
I
Right.
mean, you basically can now with the way we
Yeah.
kick everything down the road and hide signing bonuses and everything else. Let's take a look at some day baseball right now before we get into some NFL talk. Braves and Pirates, that game just restarted 6-5, bottom of the sixth. The Mets up 7-3 on the Royals. Good one in Baltimore right now. 1-1 Cubs in the O's at the end of the seventh. Cleveland's up 2-1 on Minnesota. Boston up 2-0 on the White Sox. The White Sox bats not been a factor in this series. How much have they not been a factor? They've scored 1 run to this point in this series so far in 23 innings. Maybe I should rethink my stance on the Red Sox.
I don't remember. I mean, I'm sure they might have been. I'm trying to think, but the Red Sox pitching staff, if you look at it, and I'll even take we'll start with the guys who aren't injured. You got Tully, you got Sandoval now. Both those guys are left-handed. Suarez left-handed. Conley Early left-handed. Garrett Crochet left-handed. I've never seen a team with 5 left-handed starting pitchers that are just pitching, lights out. And then oh gosh, I can't believe I forgot his name. Oh man, I feel bad. I have to look it up. He pitched last night. It'll come. Oh, Bennett. He's the other one. Another lefty. They legitimately have 6 quality left-hand starters.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. I can't remember a team that's had that many left-handed starters. They don't even have a good right-handed starter.
That's very true.
Yeah,
Very,
it's
very
crazy.
true.
Yeah.
MLB draft is coming up Saturday because it is All-Star weekend.
Yeah.
White Sox with the top pick. If you're the White Sox, do you take Rock Chowalski? The shortstop, you're kind of already good there. I don't know what his other comps are. I mean, Chowalski looks like every bit the MLB player, a la Travis Bazana and guys like that we've seen come up here. But, like, if you're the White Sox there, I mean, you're not going to take Vaughn Lackey, who's catcher from Georgia Tech, because you've got Kyle Teal. I'm not as big on Kyle Teal as you are, but obviously you've seen him come through the ranks a little bit closer than I have been. It's an interesting dilemma. Colt Emerson, not Colt Emerson, but
Grady.
like, what do you do if you're the White Sox specifically? Grady Emerson, yeah, I don't know why I called him Colt Emerson. Colt Emerson already plays for the Mariners.
To me,
what do you do?
I think he's the best player. I mean, out there. I mean, it's somewhat close. But my thing is this: if he's, and I haven't watched him a ton. I've watched him a little bit. I mean, players like that, shortstop. He's got a plus arm, average speed. You could put him around the infield. You could put him at second. You could probably even maybe put him at third. I'm all right with that. Guys who are those shortstops that are good, it goes back to, like we always say, they're really, really good athletes. You hate to give up on them. That's the thing. I think he could end up doing a lot more stuff. You know, Emerson's a high school kid. I mean, that's going to be a while. I mean, we're starting to see with like a lot of these higher end college guys, it's maybe 2 seasons and you're kind of getting them available to you. And I think we're seeing the White Sox have a pretty good window right now. I think that would be a pretty good pick for them. I don't screw this up. Take the best guy out there, but don't overcomplicate things.
Yeah, and I think in baseball that applies more than freaking anything. But interesting, I'm looking at how the White Sox laid out their positions today as far as their defense went. Vargas at first. Obviously, we know Munetaka Murakami is in rehab assignments right now. Mydroff at second. Acuna, baby Acuna at short. Colson Montgomery at third base, which I've seen them do with him a little bit here. So maybe that's the thing, is Montgomery stays at short or Montgomery moves to third and Chwalski, who probably won't be long before he's up. I mean, they've got options there. That's for sure. And then you've got, the veterans on that team like Andrew Benintendi and Randall Grichuk and some of those other guys. But like, that's been the fun thing about this White Sox team in general, is like Antonacci. Like he's a lot of fun to watch. Mydroff's been really good. Braden Montgomery, who's been pretty solid for them. Antonacci's hitting 291, dude. Like this White Sox team has players all up and down it. The Yankees are winning today. Well, why are they winning? Because Ben Rice has 2 home runs. And Austin Wells has a home run. It's 11-4. They're up on Tampa Bay. Junior Caminero with another home run today. We're seeing one of the better, like, 2-3 week stretches out of a guy with the bat in a long time. But then on the flip, Luis Garcia Jr. of the Nationals is having just as good of a 3-week stretch as Junior Caminero right now. Again, this is the frustrating thing about baseball we've talked about a lot, Mac. We're talking about a lot of good young players. We just have been for the last 7-8 minutes here. The last thing baseball needs is a work stoppage.
I don't remember a time where there's been so many young, really exciting players from an offensive standpoint and on the mound. I mean, Jacob Mizorowski is now must see TV. Every time he pitches, you've got to watch. Skeens is still there, but I mean we've got guys, we've got pitchers doing things that we haven't seen them do, hitting velocities that we haven't seen them hit. We get just really good players, offensive players, young guys, young teams, kind of a new influx. I mean, just look at, you've got the White Sox, you got the Guardians, the Nationals are making a good run. That team right between the Rockies and the A's on the back of your wall is making a nice run as well. A lot of exciting teams. It is. We know the shoe is going to fall. We know it's going to be painful. It's going to be ugly. I think it's going to be unavoidable, and it's too bad. It really truly is. I hope it doesn't happen, but I'd be silly to think and say that it's not.
Yeah, it's unfortunately the biggest cloud hanging over the game right now, and we know what's coming. It's just, are we really going to do this again? Later today, you've got the Athletics in Detroit, Seattle at Miami, Philadelphia at Cincinnati, Milwaukee at St. Louis, the Angels at the Rangers, and 2 teams that are playing mid-baseball to its definition. The Arizona Diamondbacks at 45 and 47, and the San Diego Padres at 46 and 46. Don Mattingly has expressed interest today, Mac, in being the full-time manager of the Philadelphia Phillies. I'm glad he did, but if you're the Phillies, why would you be thinking anything else right now, is my question.
Yeah, he's done an absolute great job with that team. He ended up getting that job at the right time, where it just seemed like things clicked. Yeah, he's I think a perfect manager for that team. He understands the game. He's got a lot of veterans on there. He's made good decisions. I think he's been an underrated manager. I think he did a better job in Miami than a lot of people give him credit for.
Yeah, absolutely. And top headline I just refreshed here as we get ready for our AFC South preview, which is coming up in just a couple minutes here. Clips Raptors trade for Kawhi on hold amid probe. I told you this wasn't done yet.
Yep. It's
The trade on June 30th that was agreed to send Brandon Ingram, Grady Dick, an unprotected first-round pick in 2031, 2033, and a 2027 first-round pick swap with 2 second-round picks, all for Kawhi Leonard, still on hold. The trade can only be finalized if the Raptors ownership group assumes the risk of penalties related to Kawhi's contract that could theoretically result from the ongoing investigation.
You know, just goes to show you the Clippers can screw up just about anything.
It's 2 digs in 1 week on the
Man.
What did the Clippers do to you?
Remember, the only Clippers that have won anything are these Clippers right here, baby.
I don't even know how to go forward with this. The NBA's investigation into the Clippers focused on whether they circumvented the salary cap, as you know, the aspiration tree planting deal, through his $28 million endorsement deal with Aspiration, which also had a $300 million 23-year endorsement deal with the team, and Steve Ballmer invested $60 million into Aspiration as well.
You know what they say? If it quacks like a duck and walks like a duck, it's a duck. Just saying.
Jesus. Is there anything else going on right now? We might as well get into this since
All right.
it's going to come up in Blindfire later.
All right.
A day early, the Anaheim Ducks have matched the offer sheet for Leo Carlson, making him the highest paid player in the NHL. We just talked about last week Quinn Hughes getting an extension and making him the highest paid player in the NHL. Pat Verbeek decided enough was enough, and I wasn't waiting till the deadline, which would have been tomorrow. What happens now?
They pay him a lot of money. I'll tell you, I think it would be better. Like, I wish Pat Verbeek would have waited. And I know they don't have fax machines anymore, but like wait till like the last minute and just make everybody sweat it out. I think that would be fun, and then you can see him in there like the fax machine jamming and like, oh my God, we want to put the offer through and it doesn't work. Like that would be no. I mean, like we talked about yesterday, you put yourself out there. You knew this was going to happen. This is not a surprise. Shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. I mean, I don't know that They really wanted. I mean, you knew some team was going to make them pay. You just knew they were going to do it. You knew some team was going to throw out some kind of absurd offer just to make this happen. And listen, like you said, when you do stupid things, this is what happens. And Pat Verbeek is going to have to pay the price, which sucks because I love Pat Verbeek. One of these guys right here. I love all of these guys, and but it's just a dumb move. You learn. Hey, T.
I was trying to catch him. I was trying to catch you mid head shake.
It's a fireable offense. It still is a fireable offense. And the next announcement that the Ducks should make is that he's been fired.
I got a feeling Pat Verbeek's coming up in Blindfire today. Interesting notes on this before we get into One's Gotta Go and our AFC South preview here. $4.7 million in total base salary over the 5 years, roughly $85.3 million paid as bonuses. Carlson will receive nearly $20 million immediately in year number 1.
Good for him.
Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. How are you today, T?
Well, I mean, so just kind of following on the heels of that, we have 2 offer sheets that were made. And we have 2 offer sheets that were matched. So the question now comes up, like, is the offer sheet an effective use of a general manager's toolbox? Which I still say the answer is yes.
I think I absolutely agree with it. And I think I think this is an egregious attempt by Philadelphia. Danny Briere has now just bought himself like hell of like kudos points or whatever we're calling them these days now, just for making the attempt here. So I think we're going to see more of it. I thought Bill Guerin had some really on point comments about it, like, "Hey, there's nothing personal. It's just business, and this is how it works, and this is a tool at everybody's disposal here." And I think it adds some intrigue to the offseason. I will also add to that, Mike Greer, please don't let it get to offer sheet time with Macklin Celebrini or Will Smith. That's just a personal ask on my point there. That's all I'm saying. One's got to go. Let's get into it. Last time we did this, it got under a bunch of people's skin here. So I'm going to we all give each other 3 different scenarios, sports related, and one of them has to go, and the guys have to tell me why. I will start with mine, as we are back in World Cup action today. One of these has got to go, gentlemen. The World Cup, the World Baseball Classic, or, and I'm going to specify this, the Summer Olympics. So the World Cup, the World Baseball Classic, the Summer Olympics, one of them's got to go. Which one is it, and why? We'll give T the start here.
It's the World Baseball Classic. Has to go. If you did baseball in the Olympics the right way, there would be no need for a World Baseball Classic. They do basketball kind of the right way, and so we don't need a World Basketball Classic or the FIBA International Tournament or whatever the hell it is. We don't need that. World Championships. We do ice hockey correctly. There's no need for the World Baseball Classic. Just do baseball the right way.
Mr. Baseball, do you care to retort to that?
Well, it's kind of weird because in essence, both of these sports are could or should be in the Olympics. So if you wanted to, you could just do the World Baseball Classic / the World Cup in the Olympics. So, if I had to pick one of them, I picked the World Cup because you could just do the World Cup in the Olympics, which we kind of do anyway. I mean, it's the same thing. It's every 4 years, right? I mean, it's
a good point.
Just saying.
A great point.
I mean, how much greater would the Olympics be if you took it and really expanded it out like that? I mean, that would really be interesting.
Yeah, I tend to agree with I tend to agree with it conceptually there for sure. I think the World Baseball Classic's got to go because I'm going to use the same kind of argument there. Like, is put it in the damn Olympics, do it the right way, let baseball figure out how to adjust to that every 4 years during the season, and I think we have a better product there. So,
yeah.
Mac, why don't you take the next stab at one's got to go?
All right. We got to get rid of one of these places, gentlemen. Which one are we going to get rid of? Are we going to get rid of Madison Square Garden? Are we going to get rid of the Rose Bowl? Or are we going to get rid of Wrigley Field?
Man, you have no plans to go to Chicago anytime soon, do you?
I love Chicago. I'm just saying.
For me, it's the Rose Bowl. Place is a dump. I get the nostalgia, iconic twists back to the days, and maybe I can say this because I have never been to Madison Square Garden or Wrigley Field, but like I've been to the Rose Bowl once and have zero reason to ever go back to it again. So I'm going to toss the Rose Bowl off of that list.
Okay.
I am also going to toss the Rose Bowl as a 2025 frequent event attendee at the Rose Bowl. The concourses, the main concourse is outside and it's fine, but the portals to get to your seats are ridiculous. The seats are tiny, right? Like, I'm not a huge guy, but I'm not a small guy. And I was like taking up 2 seats, and that's kind of ridiculous. And like, it would be cool if they could tear the thing down and put a modern facility on the site. but they're not going to do that because there is a modern facility 15 miles down the road that they just built. So, it's like Mike said, it's a beautiful, like there's nothing like seeing the sunset over the mountains during the Rose Bowl. But no, that's got to go.
All right.
The San Gabriels. Rose Bowl could be a night game this year, too. Oh, everybody's going to bitch about that. That's anti-traditional. Well, get with the times, people. See? Fire away. One's got to go.
One of these teams in Major League Baseball needs to be contracted. Which one is it? The Miami Marlins, the Tampa Bay Rays, or the Minnesota Twins? And I included the Twins on
that's
purpose.
An easy one for me. That's an easy one for me. It's the Marlins.
Go ahead.
There's no reason to have the Marlins down in South Florida. I know it's cool that they're like actually playing well this year and everything, but there's still nobody going. There's way better cities that deserve a team. Tampa Bay has got new ownership. They've got a new stadium that they're working on and all that stuff. So I think the Miami Marlins have always had zero place in baseball to me. Like, I know they had some success when they were wearing these hats right here, but they've always just kind of been an oddball to me. And geographically, like, we don't need Seattle and the Marlins traveling to play each other. Like, who cares? Nobody's going to those games. Seattle fans aren't traveling to those games. Minnesota, I can't imagine the Twins not being in Minnesota. And I think Tampa Bay has some really good momentum with how they're playing with a new ownership group and a new stadium. So get the Marlins the hell out of Miami. Nobody's going to care anyways.
I picked Tampa Bay only because I hate the stadium. That would be the only reason that I would take Tampa Bay out. I love what the Rays are doing. I love the way that they play. I everything about it. I hate that stadium. That stadium is just garbage. And so if they're not going to build a new stadium, then we got to get rid of the Rays.
So I agree with you, Mac. If there was not a new stadium coming, I would say that they'd have to go. But since they have a new stadium coming, I say let the Marlins go. I think it's a hat trick.
There you go.
I should have made mine more difficult.
It's all good.
All right, let's get into the AFC South as we walk our way towards the opening kickoff of the NFL season. Interesting division, guys. And if I asked you for your general thoughts when you're thinking about this division, there's a lot of different ways I can go. I came up with kind of a thing I think I'm going to keep doing while we do these. So my words, if you will, my descriptors for the AFC South. Jones and Ward, Rock Runners, and the O-line again defines the division. What you think about heading into this upcoming season for the AFC South, McEntee?
Kind of the same thing. I like, but I kind of just worded it a little bit different. I got Houston's defensive monsters add more bite, and a healthier sauce boosts the Colts.
I wonder what kind of sauce that is. I don't know what kind of sauce it is. Look, it's already been decided. Like, Ed Ingram of the Texans said they are going to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl. He's already said it. So just don't even play the game. Just get ready. But somebody forgot to tell him that the Super Bowl is not on Saturday at 1:30 in the afternoon. They forgot to tell him that.
That's funny.
I think this.
You never know.
Yeah, right. I think this division is a lot more wide open than people want to give it credit for. I like what Houston has done, but there's Jacksonville deserves a lot of credit for re-signing a bunch of their own guys, except for the running back. And I think this is going to be a much improved division top to bottom than it was last year.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people with that same expectation here. So let's talk about some of the new faces and new places and look at some of our biggest newcomers, guys we're expecting to have big impacts in the division. Maybe this is coaches. Maybe this is players. Maybe this is people running the front offices. I'll start with one of mine, Tank Dell, newcomer to the division. And you say, what? Remember Tank Dell? Still coming off of that injury. And I will tell you this, if you look at the stats and you do a deep dive on the Texans stats with Tank Dell on the field, what CJ Stroud's numbers look like. And I think getting him back is going to be worth its weight in gold. There's obviously other guys that Houston has added that we'll get to on this list as well. But for me, Tank Dell virtually is a newcomer to this division. And I think a huge part of Houston's success, mainly CJ Stroud's success, I know one of you guys has another one of those. Mac, I'll go to you. Give me a newcomer to the division that you think is going to make a big impact.
Not really a newcomer to the division, but a newcomer to the team. Listen, we just talked about getting protection for CJ Stroud. The Texans pulling off a big signing by getting Braden Smith, offensive tackle from the Indianapolis Colts. So, stealing from the division. So staying within the same division. But listen, one of the things that they need for CJ Stroud is a little more protection. And if you're going to take, somebody's best offensive lineman and put him on your team, that's good for 2 extra points.
I like the
give me a newcomer to the division.
I like the acquisition of David Montgomery for the Houston Texans. I thought that was a bang on acquisition. Joe Mixon just couldn't get it going, injured. It's just literally a non-factor last year. So love this versatility with Montgomery, who's really good out of the backfield as well.
Yeah, I think that was the other guy I was kind of referring to there in talking about Tank Dell is David Montgomery and how he stabilizes their offense as well. Another newcomer I've got to the division I think makes a massive impact is Robert Saleh, my boy, down in Tennessee with the new thread Titans this year. And I think everybody's going to go, oh, yeah, he sucked as the coach of the Jets. Well, God would suck as the coach of the Jets. They're the freaking Jets here. But I think more specifically, if you're not going to make a lazy freaking answer, like a lot of people will do when talking about Robert Saleh this year, he knows what not to do as a head coach. He knows what didn't work in the Jets. He went back to where he had his most success for another year in an organization that has a tremendous culture in San Francisco. So I think with the makeup of a very young team with some key veterans, Robert Saleh might be the biggest impactful add to this division. And seeing D'Amico Ryans and Robert Saleh go head up against each other twice a year is just an added freaking bonus to it. Matt, give me another newcomer. You're looking for a big difference maker in the division.
Well, like I told you at the beginning, I told you that the Colts get a boost with a healthier Sauce, and they also get some help from Cam Taylor-Britt, a major free agent acquisition, helped that Colts secondary, and we know they needed it.
Yeah. T?
Well, I want to give the Colts props for bringing back Daniel Jones on a 2-year deal. Last year, he was on that, basically a test drive for the season, and he was incredible. Like he should have been the comeback player of the year, like by a long shot, because of just ran into injuries at the end. For the Titans, though, I like the acquisition of Jermaine Johnson from the Jets, and I think that's going to be a huge deal for them. I've got another one I'm going to keep in my back pocket for about 5 minutes from now. But Mitchell Trubisky is a Titan now. What do you think about that? That means he's never going to see the field because Cam Ward is going to be perfectly healthy the entire year because Trubisky sucks. So, but I'm actually excited about this Titans team this year. I think you're going to see a like you said, Mike, Robert Saleh now knows what doesn't work. And it was very important for him to go back to San Francisco and get reacquainted with things that work. That was perfect training for him. I think you're going to see a whole different Robert Saleh this year.
Yeah, and I think the mentality of the team that he's getting this time as a head coach is a way better match for him. You're getting a younger team. You're getting a team that's been really down, so I know that part's comparable to the Jets, but there's a lot of young players on this Tennessee team or guys that were kind of cast off by their other teams. This is a Robert Saleh type makeup to a team that I really think works here. If you're joining us now, we're in the middle of our first of our NFL previews, the AFC South. Guys, let's talk schedules because everybody likes to overreact to these things. But is there a pocket of a team's schedule that you found that is a little bit difficult and you think might be challenging for them to navigate? We're looking at 3-4 game stretches. Can be any time in the season. Maybe you've got 5 weeks to it. find that stretch on a schedule for these teams in the division. Who do you think has the hardest stretch? We'll reverse the order this time. Go T, then Mac, then me.
So I think there's a lot of expectations on the Colts this year, especially after the successes that they had until they ran into injuries last year. So Indianapolis is going to be looked at early on as trying to get off to a hot start. And I don't know if they're good enough to win the division, but they should be good enough to finish second. But the first 5 weeks right out of the gate are going to be huge tests. They got the Ravens at the Chiefs, the Texans, then they go to Washington and to Pittsburgh. So that's 5 games. They've got to come out of that at least at 3-2 if they're going to be a contender.
Well said. Mac?
You know what they say, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And take a look at how the Texans kind of go through weeks 14 through 17. Week 14 at Washington. Again, having to go outside, playing in what we don't know what kind of weather. That's tough. They have to come home, play against Jacksonville. Then week 16, the day before Christmas, the 24th, they have to go Thursday Night Football at Philadelphia. Again, outside again. Then week 17, January 4th, a Monday night game at Green Bay. Look at that. Washington, Philly, Green Bay, 3 of those 4 weeks on the road, cold weather places. Not always, you know you're going to get some sort of weather. If nothing else, it's going to be as cold as whatnot. That's a tough end of the season for anybody. But it's going to be very interesting to see how they handle those 3 road games that late in the season.
The show behind the show is always an interesting here, and obviously we're dealing with a little bit of a freaking delay issue. I thought we were done with those, so we appreciate you guys sticking with us here. The show within the show is fascinating to me because I saw what you two just did there, and that's bravo to both of you. Who did the Texans piss off to get, like, it seems like a couple of years ago, not last year, maybe the year before that, they had the same kind of screw job around the holidays where they had the tough game on right around Christmas, and then they had short week, and then they had, like, who did the Texans piss off to get screwed like that at the end of the year every year?
I basically think that the schedule is like it is to make sure that they have that first Saturday wild card game in the afternoon. I think that's what it's for.
That is 100% accurate. 100% accurate.
Sorry, Mike. I know
you're an asshole. You caught me mid-drink on that one. That was solid there. For me, it's a team that I think is already overhyped to all hell. It's Jacksonville. And if you look at Jacksonville at the beginning of the season here, they've got a stretch where they go to Denver, then they play New England, then they go to Cincinnati, then they play Philadelphia and Houston. That just gets us to the end of week 6. That's a team stretch right there for a Jacksonville team that everybody's going to expect to kind of climb back to the top of the division, and all the momentum from Lee and Cohen and all that, and maybe 2 fights with Robert Saleh this year and whatever else comes out of it. That's a brutal stretch for a Jaguars team that I don't know is anywhere near as good as people think they're going to be this year, especially right out of the gates. We could learn a lot about the Jags really early in the season. The Jags who have had a lot of changes to their roster, and it's kind of an interesting stretch for them there. Let's look at offensive and defensive players, guys that we think are huge targets for breakouts this season. I'm gonna let T start here. You can go offense or defense, either one you want.
Well, just to piggyback on the Jags here, week 8 they play the Colts at home, and we always know what happens when they play the Colts at home. So hopefully the Colts can get off to a really good start because they ain't winning that game. I like Wan'Dale Robinson of the Titans. This dude had a breakout year, 92 catches, over 1,000 yards on a team where he became the guy after Neighbors got injured. So now he's going to be counted on to anchor a young receiving core, and they need to provide Cam Ward with reliable targets. And so Wan'Dale Robinson, Carnell Tate, these guys are going to be there. It's a huge opportunity for both of these players.
Yeah, I think that's an excellent kind of point there. I'm going to look at Tennessee as well. but I'm going to go with Carnell Tate. You don't draft the guy in Carnell Tate at 4th who isn't going to be a big time playmaker for you. And I think he got kind of lost in the shuffle of the talent that was in the draft this year, and like just kind of overlooked as a whole. And like, you know, we talked about the Jordan Tyson thing and all that stuff. Like, I think Carnell Tate, everybody kind of forgot this dude's really damn good. And that's an interesting pairing that I'm kind of really looking forward to seeing how it plays itself out with Cam Ward and Carnell Tate there. So I don't think you're going to draft him at 4 if he isn't a big time playmaker, and he's a rookie, so we'll see how it goes and everything. But we also like, how's Emeka Egbuka going to be? And after the first couple of weeks, we went, oh yeah, he played at Ohio State. He's going to be just fine. So I'm kind of expecting the same thing from Carnell Tate this year, which is going to make Cam Ward even better. Matt, give me one of yours.
Well, the Colts have 110 targets that they no longer have, and Michael Pittman Jr., so they've got to go somewhere. So I think Josh Downs is going to have to accrue some of those, right? So why not have Josh Downs as my breakout player? Because, like I said, you got 110 targets that got to go somewhere else.
Yeah, that's very, very true. Let's go to the defensive side of the ball here a little bit. I'll start us off on the defensive side. I'm going to go to Houston, Reed Blankenship. The one place that the Texans really needed probably some depth and some help was at the safety position. And I think in D'Amico Ryan's defensive scheme, Reed Blankenship is a guy who can quarterback the backside of what we already know is an extremely good defense there. So I think Reed Blankenship to Houston in that safety spot is a guy I think is going to be a huge difference maker for a team that's already really damn good on defense. But that was the one area that they really needed to address back there. Love the signing. Mac, give me a defensive guy.
Let's see. I had a couple. But I can't find them. Where are they? Oh, Kalen Bullock. That's who it was for the Texans. I think, again, we said that the Texans added to their defense. I think in that safety spot, I mean, again, we all know how important safeties are, especially with all the passing that happens. I think that's a huge upgrade for the Texans, and it's just going to help solidify, especially we know that they're going to put pressure on the quarterback. We know that's going to happen with what they have up front. I think this is a good chance for them to really have somebody in that back that can, get themselves a few more turnovers.
See, give me a defensive guy. Breakout year.
Well, once again, I've loved what the Titans did on defense this year with getting Jermaine Johnson. They signed a slew of secondary players. They signed John Franklin Myers. They got Solomon Thomas. They got all these guys for a defensive-minded coach who is in charge. And even if it's just depth players, that's fine. It's great moves from the Titans, but I'm expecting the Titans defense to be one of the better units in the NFC South or AFC South this year. Holy smokes. I would the jar $1 for that.
All right, let's look at some betting perspectives on the AFC South this year. A couple of bets that we like if you had to make them right now. Mac, I'll start with you on this one.
Well, I'm going right back to the Colts. Josh Downs over 85 receptions. I mean, it's got to happen.
It's on the Josh Downs train here. T, what do you got? Give me a liquid lock from the division.
All right, I'll give you a kind of a chalk one here. CJ Stroud over 22.5 touchdown passes. So it's minus money right now, but with all the weapons that he's going to have, and especially with Montgomery out of the backfield, I don't see any reason why he doesn't get to 22.5 very easily.
All right. I'm going to go with my first one here, and I am going to stay on the Titans train and Bobby Saleh. I'm going to take the Titans for over 6.5 wins this year. It's a minus 105 right now, so kind of defeats my plus money angles that I like to look for, but I think at minus 105 is still a good price there for a team that I think is going to be exponentially better just because of better leadership and better direction, and they've got a good mix of veterans and young players here. They're getting a fourth place schedule. I can see a 7-win football team out of them. I can see maybe an 8-win football team. I don't know how much higher than that I'll go, but I don't know how much higher than that you really need to go in the division. Teaser or not for a minute. Mac, give me another one here.
Okay, guys, I need you to hold on to something solid so you don't fall over. If you follow this show at any time, you know that I have this love-hate with the Jacksonville Jaguars. I love to hate them. They frustrate me all to heck. So, you know what? I decided I'm not going to put up the white flag. I'm just jumping straight in. Are you ready? Here we go. I am taking Trevor Lawrence to win the NFL MVP. I am driving the train. I am driving that bad boy. There you go. You wanted something? You got it. There it is. MVP, Mr. Lawrence.
Is this on?
I know.
I
know what not to.
Is this on?
You want
Holy
a good
smokes.
All right. You laugh now. But
driving the train straight to derailment, maybe.
Yeah, well, you know.
Good God, T, you can follow that. I'm not even going to try.
Well,
man.
even the dog is so mad right now. Like she is so pissed that. So hold on. She wants me to go the other way. She wants me to go with Trevor Lawrence leading the league in interceptions at plus 1,200. That's where I'm going. He's going to throw more picks. He's going to be the second guy to have a 30-30 season after Jameis Winston. Lawrence, lead the league in interceptions.
And touchdowns and yardage. That's why he'll be MVP.
Oh, yeah. So the day we give the MVP to a guy who leads the league in interceptions, then we should just stop with the damn award, like, in general. My God. Train derailment is the train you're driving right there. I'm going to give you something that's a hell of a lot more sensible and probably a really good bet to make right now. How about the Houston Texans at plus 850 to win the AFC? To win the AFC at plus 850. I think it'd be interesting to see how that kind of shakes out. But if I'm looking at the layout of the AFC right now, I think at plus 850, based on what we've seen, the big question there is, can the revamped offensive line actually hold up long enough for them to keep CJ Stroud upright? But that is also a team defensively that I think can walk their way to an AFC title just on what they can do on the defensive side of the football. So let's get to the stuff that actually matters here. Order of finish, who wins, why, how many playoff teams, all that fun stuff. AFC South style. I'll start us off here. My order of finish: Houston, Tennessee, Jacksonville, and Indianapolis. One playoff team, the aforementioned Houston Texans. I have zero faith in this Jacksonville team. I think they've lost too many people at key positions, and there's too many questionable guys that we're not sure of how they're going to play this year. I think there's too many wild cards there. The Daniel Jones thing in Indy is interesting. And I could see the Titans being second in this division at sub 500. I just don't think it's a very good division. It's an interesting division, but I think Jacksonville is way overvalued. So that's my order of finish. Matt, go ahead with yours.
The Jacksonville Jaguars are going to win the division because of their elite offensive stability and, of course, their MVP candidate, Trevor Lawrence. He's finally understanding this Liam Cohen system. I get Houston. They rely on a young defense. Indianapolis is they had a good season, but we saw them fall off. I just think if you take a look at what Trevor Lawrence did at the end of last season, he was ranked in the top 5 in a lot of categories. I love their offense. I think there's no way that Jacksonville doesn't win it this year.
Okay, how about the rest of the division since you're done slobbering on the Jaguars right now? You have an order of finish for me? Wild card?
Gotcha. Here we go. You ready? Jacksonville, number 1. Houston, number 2. Indianapolis, number 3. Tennessee, number 4. Houston is in their spot. Wild card.
All right, T. Follow that train wreck.
I've got Houston, Jacksonville, Indianapolis, Tennessee. 2 playoff teams, Houston and Jacksonville.
Interesting. That is your AFC South. Let's take a peek here, whatever the hell we want to say. Mike Yastrzemski with a grand slam for the Atlanta Braves, now up 10-5, the top of the 9th, over the Pirates. Boston and Chicago 2-1 in the 7th. We've got finals. Both New York teams won a baseball game in the same day. I would look up the last time that happened, but it might actually take a while to figure out the last time that they both won in the same day. Mets with a 7-3 win over the Royals. Yankees 12-4 over Tampa. Baltimore gets a 3-2 victory over the Chicago Cubs. The rest of the baseball is later today. Let's get into now where I put the guys on the firing line here. Blind fire. Make sure you have something to write with. There will be not as much math as last week, but you're going to have to write down a couple of things here. If you're new to the program, welcome. Thanks for being here. Blind fire, the guys get a list of 10 to 12 topics. Today, it is 12 topics for them that I have not asked them one bit whatsoever, and they have to respond quick style fashion. So let's get it started, guys, and I'm going to start with the first one. This one needs a visual aid, so do not tell me what it is, but let's figure this out here, and we'll drop these at the end of the program. Baseball
gracious.
Kings. Check your phones. I also sent that to you just in case you can't see it. But your month of your birth and then the date of your birth gives you a job and a team. I've already pre-done these in my head, so this was kind of a loaded question here. Really funny once we get to that. So that's number 1. Let's get to some actual things that you have to answer right now. The Chicago Cubs, guys. They have now had Pete Crow Armstrong complete. Let's make us bigger here. Complete the bird trifecta. And you're going, what in the hell is the bird trifecta? Cubs to homer against the Cardinals, Orioles, and Blue Jays in the same season. Pete Crow Armstrong this year. Ian Happ in 2024. Dansby Swanson in 2023. Missing a guy from 2022. Who would your guess be? Cubs bird trifecta home run hitters.
Who did it in 22?
Who did it in 2022? It's not with the Cubs anymore. Still playing.
Oh, man. A hint? Infielder? Outfielder?
All right, I'll give you guys a hint because one of you guys, the light bulb will go off. Catcher. You didn't know there was going to be a stumper here. I'll let you think about that for a minute.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to another one that's a little more open-ended here. Number 3 on your list for the day. If I asked you guys at this point, everybody wants to talk about mid-season MVPs and this, that, and everything, and mid-season manager of the year for baseball at the All-Star break that's not really halfway through the season. If I had to have you guys do an exercise where you named your all-disappointment team from the first half of the Major League Baseball season, I'm not asking for 9 guys, but give me a guy or 2 that absolutely jumps off the page to you so far in the baseball season that you're extremely disappointed with their particular performance. TJ, you cannot say the entire Anaheim Angels team. Mac, you cannot say the entire Red Sox team.
Yeah, no, well, he was part at one point. I think Alex Bregman. I think he was just highly sought after this whole offseason. You know, the Red Sox wanted him. Everybody kind of wanted him. And he, even though the Cubs have been so up and down, but I don't think he's had the year that the Cubs expected from him. I think he's been pretty much a disappointment.
I'm going with Jarren Duran. Like, where the hell is the rest of his batting average? This guy sucks. So I'm going with Duran.
Yeah, and there's a lot of guys we could put on this list. Like, there's a lot of guys hoping to have better second halves than first ones. All right, guys, I'm going to give you a list of 6 NFL teams, and then I'll tell you what the objective of this conversation is. Jets, Titans, Cardinals, Browns, Raiders, Dolphins. No, I'm not asking you to come up with the top 6 draft order for next year now. That's not what we're doing here. Which of those teams, Jets, Titans, Cardinals, Browns, Raiders, or Dolphins, would you say has the best chance to go on a surprise run in this upcoming season? We'll go Mac then T on this.
I'm going to say the New York Jets. I know I picked them last year to actually make the playoffs. They're full of disappointment. I'm going to go back on the Jets train, and I'm going to say the New York Jets.
Mac is now going to be part of 2 train catastrophes in the NFL season this year. TJ, what do you got?
Oh my God. This is like, I'm taking the Raiders. I'm taking the Raiders.
Okay.
I have to. It's just one of those things.
That list is not the greatest list in the world either. So this one's a little easier for you guys. LeBron James, over under July 26th. He tells us who his new team is. Before or later?
Later. Before. It's going to be this week. It's going to be tomorrow. We're going to know tomorrow. Got a feeling.
Later.
Bold proclamation there. All right. Well, maybe this is why the next guy I'm going to ask you about didn't wait till tomorrow to match an offer sheet, but Pat Verbeek. How far into this Anaheim Ducks season does Pat Verbeek make it, T than Mac?
He's gonna make it through the whole season, but he should have been fired.
I agree. I think he's going to stay no matter what. You'd be surprised. Even though you do dumb shit, sometimes it ends up smelling sweet.
I'm going to leave that one alone. Let's talk about the Florida Panthers for a second here.
All right.
Actually, no, I'm going to ask this one while we try and figure out where the hell TJ just went. Sports empires. We talk about it all the time. Ownerships groups. And this one is, I couldn't pass this one up for you. We have the Kroenke Sports Group, Nuggets, Rams, and Avs, among other things. I'm not talking about soccer clubs or real estate that these guys own. Nuggets, Rams, and Avs. We got the Jones family with the Cowboys. We've got the Harris Blitzer Group, which is the Sixers, Devils, and Commanders. We've got the Fenway Group, which is Boston and the PGA Tour, the Red Sox and the PGA Tour. We've got the MSG Corporation, the Rangers and the Knicks. It's easy until you have to answer this. Which one of those groups do you think has the best outlook for the next 5 to 10 years? So you've got the Kroenke Group with the Nuggets, Rams, and Avs, the Jones Group with the Cowboys and a bunch of real estate that we don't care about, Harris Blitzer Group, 76ers, Devils, and Commanders, the Fenway Group, the PGA Tour and the Red Sox, and the MSG Corporation, the Knicks and the Rangers. Yeah. Who's got a better perspective outlook for the next 5 to 10 years?
I'm gonna say the Kroenke Group, and it's only because he's got the best players in the league on multiple teams.
I think that's a fair assessment there.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of where I was going to go. I mean, I just, if you look at the teams that are there, I think that's probably the safest bet out of all of those. I like the Fenway. The Fenway Group just because they have the PGA. Because the PGA is up for some interesting things. So that could be a good one as well.
All right. Let's move on to the Miami Dolphins. I'm going to read you a couple names here. I'll tell you what they mean in a second. Malik Willis, Devon Achane, Malik Washington, Jalen Tolbert, Tutu Atwell, Greg Dulcich. Those are your offensive skill players listed first on the depth chart for the Miami Dolphins. How many games does this team actually win with that cast of characters?
Man, I think this could be a really difficult year. I'm going to say 5. I think 5 is a good number.
5.
Yeah.
I think you're being nice to the Dolphins. I don't know if that group right there can win 3 games, let alone 5 games.
Yeah. Well,
I mean,
I was
dude,
going to say
this thing is bad.
it is bad, but I here's what I always look at. Like when you go to Miami, Miami is always a tough place to play. You get a lot of weather. I mean, good weather, but it's warm. You know what I mean? Like Miami is good being at home. It's almost good for a win or two every year. So if you look at it that way, 3 plus those 2, 5. I like 5. I think that's a good number.
An interesting group of characters. We'll get to the AFC
Yeah.
East in our previews 2 weeks from now. NFC North next week, AFC East the week after that. All right, let's keep moving through here. We're almost at the end of the list. The Marlins. Your Miami Marlins that you love talking about have their third highest paid player is Giancarlo Stanton, who has not played for the Marlins since 2017, but he's the third highest paid player on their roster. They just came off of a 20-6 June. They outscored their opponents 129-78, Mac. I know you believe in this team. Do you believe in them enough to actually make a move that helps them make the playoffs this year? Because that would be very non-Marlin-like.
I would say yes. I mean, I think they do. I think they actually need to make a move. I think it's going to help the fan base as well. But I think they need to be able to do something to help this fan base out.
Okay. I can't see it happening. I really can't. They should, but I can't see it happening.
I mean, I really think they need to. I mean, it's one of those things. It's like for so many years we haven't seen them do anything. I mean, and every year it's been like you said yesterday. Who are they going to trade? I think we're finally to a point where it's got to be like if we don't do something, we're going to really lose that fan base.
Yeah.
I mean,
all right, final one here. Go ahead, finish up.
I was just gonna say, like, this is the year. Like, they're finally making those moves. Like, they finally have a good young core that's making the right moves. Like, they look like they really do look like a good baseball team.
It'll definitely be interesting to see how it finishes. All right, we actually have 2 more left here. Number 1, Gudis, Hathaway, and Kachuk. Those guys are 1, 2, and 3 in hits in the NFL or NHL. Those guys hit like they're in the NFL. They're number 1, 2, and 3 in hits, total hits since 2021 or 2020 and 2021. Have we come up with a good nickname for the Florida Panthers this year with a team full of jabronis, for lack of a better term that I can't come up with? We need to nickname this group because they're going to be a freaking riot to watch.
America's Most Wanted.
The elbow room's most wanted. Mac?
Oh my gosh. I was trying to think of something good. Like, they're down in the swamps of Florida. I don't know. Like, what's down in Florida? Like anacondas, like the anaconda line or something like that. They're just gonna squeeze the freaking life out of you.
Well, I mean, it's alligators are down there.
Oh,
But
gators!
You can't use the gators because that's already
No,
taken.
that's why I said like anaconda, like that's something. The snake line. Well, let's put a star next to that.
I tell you what though. I tell you what here. If they play like they did last year, you can go ahead and call them swamp ass because that's exactly what it'll be for them if they play like they did last year and everybody's hurt all year. Let's talk about Boston and Philly, as if we're boys to men here. A.J. Brown goes from Philly to Boston. Jaylen Brown goes from Boston to Philly. Which Brown in their new city has a better year next year? A.J. or Jaylen?
I think AJ is going to have a better year. I mean, I think the Patriots are going to do a lot for him. It's been pretty positive so far from what I've seen, and when they had their OTAs, I think he's going to be a huge target for Drake May. I think it's going to be a good fit in New England.
I'm going the other way. I'm going with Jaylen Brown. This team, the Sixers were close, man. They were close, and the Jaylen Brown might be the guy to get them to an Eastern Conference final against my Toronto Raptors.
Minus Kawhi Leonard.
Maybe. Aspirations to have Kawhi Leonard here. All right, to finish it up, the catcher you were missing from the Bird trifecta of Cubs hitters, Wilson Contreras in 2022, followed by Dansby Swanson, Ian Happ. Nobody did it in 2025. PCA just completed that against the Orioles yesterday. Let's get back to the birthday things. Because I got so much enjoyment when I put your guys' birthdays in, but I decided that I wanted to let you guys tell the rest of the people. Vegas Mac.
No.
What is your job and for who?
I got, honestly, the shit end of the stick on both of these things, I think. Not only am I the laundry cleaner, I have to do it for the Anaheim Angels. I mean, oh my gosh. I'm already looking for a new job.
It's a shit job for sure.
You know?
Washing the shit out of those uniforms.
Yeah, you know, the only thing I can hope is that they bring back their old third baseman, Rondon, and at least I won't have to clean anything.
Jesus.
Just his diapers that went.
T has a little better MLB career prospectus based on this. T, what did yours end up with?
I am a pitcher for the Atlanta Braves, and we are going all the way this year. Except, actually, it might be all the way to the operating room based on past performance of Atlanta Braves pitchers.
He is pitcher for the Braves. He's going to end up all the way in Gwinnett with the Stripers at some point this season. I'm pretty stoked about mine, I'll be honest with you. Mine ended up being a pinch runner, which doesn't sound very, very glamorous, obviously. But I'm a pinch runner for the Tampa Bay Rays, dude. I'm getting a lot of action. I'm getting used a lot. So, interesting stuff there. I just, when I did Max right away, and I saw laundry cleaner for February, I'm like, oh, we're using this on the show. I don't even care who it pairs him up with. And then the irony that it paired him up with the Angels made it even freaking better. All right, let's get into...
Sorry, dude.
No, it's all good. As I say, I don't mind the laundry cleaner. That's actually a cool job, but, you know, for the Angels, oh, gosh.
Yeah? I mean... we're just going to leave it alone. It's too easy. It's too easy. It's too easy. All right, let's get into some liquid locks. I did not have fun yesterday with liquid locks, so I'm chomping at the bit to fix this. And I'm going to a couple of Phillies tonight that get Brady Singer on the bump for the Cincinnati Reds at the Great American Bandbox in Cincinnati. Bryson Stott for 2 total bases tonight. He is a plus 135, and I'm going back to the HRR hits, runs, and RBIs. Bryce Harper for 3 hits, runs, RBIs. That is a plus 110. So I will be watching the Phillies and the Reds tonight. Clearly. Mac, give me some liquid locks. Thursday action. What do you got?
I'm going to go Bryce Miller over 5.5 strikeouts. And I'm going to take Nathan Eovaldi over 7.5 strikeouts.
Good play against the Angels offense there.
I'll be cleaning their uniforms after the game.
Was not a good play for the Angels offense yesterday.
No. T, what do you got? We're going back to the W?
We are. First, I'm going with the Padres and Diamondbacks tonight over 8.5 runs as we have a matchup of old man Merrill Kelly and noodle arm Griffin Canning. So this should be fun. We'll see another one. We'll see Donnie O and another one in the Crone Zone. So I'm going over tonight. And then I'm going to the WNBA. Jackie Young has been a ATM lately on the over points per game. I'm going again over 18.5 points against the Portland, not the Rhine Fire.
Oh, an NFL Europe reference dropped in there. Like it. We got to do something about dollar dingers, guys, because I'm gonna not sugarcoat it. I mean, basically in the last 12, we've hit one of them. Like, what the actual F is happening with our dollar dingers right now? This is not how I'd like to go into the All-Star break here. Freeman, Dingler, and Wood were our losers on Tuesday. Down $19.79 for the year. Again, we're picking these blind based on Friday matchups. So, I'll let you guys start. Let's go, Mac. Give me a dollar dinger play for tomorrow.
All right. I'm going with James Wood. Why? Well, because he's been amazing all year. Number one. Two, he's playing at New York, so he could probably bunt his way to a home run with that right field. And he's going against Ryan Weathers. Listen, it's going to hit. You just know it. A bunt, and he can do it. James Wood.
I love when Yankees fans and Red Sox fans throw barbs at each other for their Little League short right fields in both of their ballparks. It's the most humorous argument to me every year. Yours is shorter. No, yours is shorter. Yours goes around the corner. Blah, blah, blah. You both play in Little League right fields. Just admit it. The A's will be shortly there behind you. T, give me a dollar dinger pick for tomorrow night.
All right, I'm going to give you two because I don't know if my primary one, I had one, and then I was like, yeah, no. So Cody Clemens of the Twins is going against batting practice Grayson Rodriguez. In Rodriguez's, believe this is his first start since I watched him break himself a couple weeks ago. So he probably shouldn't have been throwing the football before the game. That probably threw off his motion. But my concern is that Cody hits lefty, and I don't know if he's going to play. So if Cody doesn't play, I'm going with old reliable Junior Caminero against Luis Castillo.
Interesting. That leaves me, and I'm going to go right back to the Great American Bandbox, where my Chicago Cubs are in town. And Hunter Green's on the schedule to be on the bump for Cincinnati. You know, all of the Cubs players are going to be overjuiced because they're playing in the Great American Bandbox. So that's something to factor in here. But I'm going to go with a guy who kind of owes me a couple at this point, and we really need to start collecting on those. So I'm going to go with Michael Bush to homer at the Great American Bandbox tomorrow night for the Cubbies. Looking to go into the All-Star break with more positive momentum. On Monday, we'll be back on Tuesday, but on Monday we have the Home Run Derby on Netflix. So happy that it was announced that Michael Irvin will be contributing to the Home Run Derby coverage on Netflix. Not sure what exactly he's contributing, because why? Did we not have enough of that nonsense during the college football playoff? We don't know the whole field yet, which is an interesting thing here. So most people would venture to guess that I'd be all over Jack Caglione, my boy, in this. I'm happy to see him in it. But I don't know if a home run derby really sets up great for Jack Tani. I hope it does, because if the dude gets a hold of balls in that ballpark, short right field, since that's an argument point today on the show, I think we could see a lot of good things. It's still up in the air which one of the Phillies superstar sluggers decides to do this, or if both of them, Harper and Schwarber, are going to do it. So I'm going to make a pick with a condition, kind of like T just made with our dollar dingers for tomorrow. If Bryce Harper's in this, I want Bryce Harper to win it. If Bryce Harper is not in it, then I'm going to go with my boy Jack Caglione, because I feel like it would be just sacrilege if I did it. So that's my pick for Monday, since here we sit on Thursday afternoon and still don't know the whole field. So Harper or Caglione. Mac, give me yours.
All right, I was going to go with Contreras, but he got hurt last night, and so I don't know if he's going to participate. So this is what I'm going to do. Are you ready? I'm saying this right now. Ready? The next guy that says he's in the Derby is my guy. The next guy. Whoever commits next, that's my guy. Okay? Because we got some spots open. Unless it's Bryce
Harper.
Right, unless it's Bryce Harper. But the next guy, I know Walker just committed, but listen, the next guy said, I'm in. He's the winner. That's where I'm going with. I think that's fair.
This dude's going to end up with the fair play on Kyle Schwarber officially announcing
You
himself.
You're right, and that's right. Hey, I just said it. The next guy, minus Harper.
Hey, T, Trouty27. He's been activated. He homered last night. Do you think he does it?
I mean, it's going to be back literally in his hometown. He might do it, but I'm going with Jordan Walker of the Cardinals.
I like that.
Ooh. No Ben Rice pick. No Junior Caminero pick from the panel. Which is probably means there's your insight to who's actually going to win, Ben Rice or Junior Caminero. Next week, full week of shows. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Our NFL preview next week divisionally will take us up north in the NFC to a very, very interesting division with Packers, Lions, Bears, and Garden Gnomes. The NFC North on next Thursday's show. Should be an interesting one. We'll get closer and closer to the start of the NFL season. We'll hit some more college football on Wednesday. Of course, we'll recap the weekend on Tuesday. Get you set for the Open Championship at Royal Birkdale, which gets underway at the god-awful hours on the west coast of Wednesday evening next week. Recap the All-Star Game. A lot of fun stuff. Anything you want to leave us with on this Thursday there, TJ?
I'm just getting my resume ready to send to the Samuelis. I got to find how I've, haven't screwed up a hockey team in the last 2 weeks. And I hope I hope that gets me the job.
You'd probably just drive right down there and hand it to them, too. That's the other bonus for you.
True.
Mac, how much farther do we go with this whole Red Sox have you hooked in thing? Does it take you through the whole weekend?
Well, right now they're up 2-1 in the top of the ninth, and they just stole second base. No, they didn't. That was your boy Jarren Duran. He stole it and then overslid the bag, and he's out. So there's that. But listen, it's kind of funny. I heard somebody in one of the Boston shows this morning. They were talking about how everyone hated Craig Breslow, but if you start looking at the things that Craig Breslow has done, it's actually not all that bad. Some of the trades he's made, and they're going to do it. They're going to probably win today. They're going to probably go and take 3 from the Mets, and you're going to go into the All-Star break just a couple of games out, and that fish hook's going to be firmly inserted into my mouth, and they're going to be wheeling me in.
You could just drop out. You got 2 weeks left until Steelers report and get it going full way. Just drop out for the next couple of weeks. You'll be fine. You won't even miss them.
Oh, I don't know. It's crazy. Baseball's crazy.
I'm going tomorrow with a Chicago double, by the way. I just looked it up because he hasn't homered today. Miguel Vargas hasn't homered in almost a week now. Mm-hmm. I think I'm going to play a little double Cub action tomorrow. Bush and Vargas. Mm-hmm. The A's coming to town. The Nomads coming to town to finish the first half of the season.
That's a good one.
In Chicago. Aaron Savali on the bump.
Batting practice, Savali.
Hey, it's been fun, but we got to get up on out here. So, for everybody behind the scenes, for the internet companies that still can't fix delays, you can go screw yourselves. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. A lot of stuff going on, and who knows, maybe Pat Verbeek will be fired by the time we talk to you next on Tuesday. Until then, enjoy it.